So let me maybe start to tell you what I think we know about the virus. Clearly has been reported a lot of mutations, 32 mutations in the spike protein, the one that is important for the vaccine. Just to remind people, there were very few mutations on the spike for the beta or the delta viruses variant. And I think it was a big surprise to the scientific community. I don't believe many people would have predicted such a big jump in evolution in one variant. What we also know is that it's taking over Delta in South Africa very quickly. It took around 4 months for Delta to take over Beta. And it seems it's taking just a couple of weeks for this new variant to take over Delta. So that's something to keep in mind. And we also know that it's in many countries already. What I think we should move then is, what do we believe? We believe this virus is highly infectious. We need to get more data to confirm this, but it seems to be much more infectious than Delta, which of course is problematic. And we also believe that it's already present in most countries. I think what happened with the planes coming from South Africa to Holland over the weekend is a good example. I believe that most countries that have direct flights from South Africa in the last 7 to 10 days have already cases in their country that they might not be aware of. And then the last piece is what we not know yet, what we don't know. I think there are 2 key things that we don't know yet, and we're going to find out in the coming weeks. One is the vaccine efficacy. What is the impact of this new variant on the vaccine efficacy? And we should know that in around 2 weeks. Given the large number of mutations, it is highly possible that the efficacy of the vaccine, all of them, is going down. But we need to wait for the data to know if this is true and how much is it going down. The second piece that we don't know, that we need to keep really an open mind, is the virulence of the virus. How much disease it gives people. I believe it's going to take 2 to 6 weeks to really know. And I think we need to be cautious that it could be more virulent, it could be as virulent, or it could be less virulent. And I think today it's really impossible to know. I think the piece we should be cautious is, I don't believe that what's going to happen in the coming week or 2 in South Africa will be predicting to the true virulence of a virus. And I think that's because if you think about it, in South Africa, you have less than 5% of the population over 60 years of age. And you don't have a lot of comorbidity. And so it's not because it's going to look not very virulent in South Africa that it will not be virulent in Europe or in America or in the North.
Well, going back to that question, of course, about the vaccines, you know, what we saw from the beta variant, which also arose in South Africa, is that there was, in what Dr. Fauci likes to call, you know, a diminution of the protection from the vaccines. But it still seemed like the vaccines could provide protection against severe disease. What's your expectation for that dynamic with Omicron? What diminution we might see based on the mutations that are understood and the effect that there will still be on severe disease from the vaccines?
Yes, and I think really this is the big question, Meg, is if you look at the new virus, it has the Delta mutation, it has the Beta mutation, and many more on the spike, up to 32 mutations. So we anticipate that there'll be a loss of vaccine efficacy to prevent disease. What is important for people to remember is that unlike an antibody treatment, vaccines provide you not 1 or 2 antibodies, but a soup of antibodies. And so some antibodies will still be protective, neutralizing antibodies, even if you have a mutation. And that's a piece that's really hard to handicap with what we did in the last few days to analyze the virus, you know, in silico on computers and doing, 3D modeling and so on. It's tough to know, are we going to lose, 5x, are we going to lose 8x of the antibody levels? This will really need to all be patient and see the data. Scientists have been working since middle of next week, before Thanksgiving weekend, and working through the whole weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, nonstop, because we don't know every day matters. What is important, I think, to know is that at Moderna, we have a 3 line of defense strategy. And I'm not aware of any company that has so many tools to help and respond if vaccine efficacy drops and or the virulence is higher or same. One is, as you know, we've lowered the dose of a booster of a current vaccine. And so we have a lot of safety data showing that we could go back to a 100 microgram dose and to double the dose of a current vaccine, which should provide a better protection than the 3rd dose booster at 50 micrograms. So that's first line of defense, actionable right away.